doing a weird one today, but it's actually because of something that I randomly got on YouTube, where a commenter named Dylan Plays 87 started to talk about his struggles with modded Minecraft, just being confused on what to do. So I'm gonna have this segment be like not even 15 minutes, but it's just improv. I want to talk about how I recommend you. Sorry about that. Um, just some advice on what to do before streams, so it's a bit more interesting. Now, there is something where you have to have some draw, like something to be brought to, and the obvious dichotomy is, say, Hermitcraft versus Dream SMP. Hermitcraft is based on what you do. Dream SP is more on how, or rather, who does it. I'm not saying that the Dream SP players are not skilled, or the Hermitcraft players are not interesting people, but there's a big difference between, say, people that just want to goof around, build machines, and build nice places, and occasionally have scuffles just for the fun of it, and a story that's so diverse or so thought out that some of the players are writers for it. So, with multiplayer, it's a bit easier because you can always rely on a dynamic between players. And just butting heads can make it more interesting to watch. But for smaller ones in single player, there has to be something, some draw. Philza Philza, for instance, is primarily single player when he's not on the SMP, but it's hardcore and he does risky things and does amazing builds while in a hardcore world. So that draw, along with his personality and things like that, bring. Now, for modded, I think the big goal with most mod packs is growth. So let's actually go into that, because it was actually the guy asking, since he streams, where do I begin? Where do I start? And simply, you start it long before you start actually streaming the mod pack, because being completely blind is an issue. Because a lot of the streaming would just be you getting your reins, doing a lot of things that you really shouldn't be doing, and yeah. So, what do I recommend? Simple. Do your own research. And this may sound obvious, like, duh. You research it, but what does that mean? Well, by that I mean, well, it depends. In terms of a mod pack, what I normally do is, at least if it's a mod pack where most of the mods are similar to another one, I'd recommend looking up people on YouTube that do it, so you can get an idea of how these work. For instance, with my more technological mods, like Ender.io back when I was in 1.12, and most of my knowledge during Sky Factory is because of Sunday, and back when he focused on Minecraft. And yeah, if I didn't watch Sunday, if I didn't understand how some of the stuff worked by watching him go through it or watching him make the videos about it, then I would have probably made a lot of mistakes. Well, a lot more mistakes. And feel free to experiment but what I personally recommend is make a goal. A small term goal, long term goal, doesn't matter. Actually, might as well give an example. With Sky Factory. Now I did a lot of work just on nothing, building and stuff, because of an achievement. But let's say, for instance, my goal is to get let's just go with diamonds. The classic goal of automating diamonds. So what I'm going to do is use a sieve. Now, the sieve I already know how to get, but I have to find out how to use the sieve remotely through an item, and how to get gravel. Now, there's the item user. This I have to write down, or put down. And for gravel, there are a few ways. For instance, using the pulverizer is one way, where you can pulverize a lot of stuff, mainly cobblestone to get it, or you can use mystical crops. Now, once you do that, you have to then write down what you need for each of these seeds. But you also have to find a way to harvest them, and a way to craft them. So, which is it? So, if you don't know what can craft, luckily none of items helps, because when you click on a crafting recipe, you can see everything that functions as a crafting table. And if the mod pack has it, you can find one like this, which it directly says automated, but if it also looks like a machine, it can work. So I get the recipe, put it down, but how do I get this? Through this. And then how do I actually harvest these seeds? Well, then you gotta you can put down, say, farm, and you can get the farming turtle. But if you know which mod it comes from, like from testing it out a bit, then you can do it. Grab it, and then how do I make this? Rinse and repeat. Basically, once you get a goal, that's when everything starts to come together. Because it's not like something you just sit down, think for 5 minutes, and then start. You have to research. You have to look up what is worth your time and what isn't. For instance, when talking about automating getting ores and such, this is the chart that I made you can't really see it much, but I written down everything that I want to save and everything that they would give me, including what's shared and what needs to be processed, which requires crafter and furnace. And yeah, you have to do your own research. Once you do, and once you actually get a goal, that's when everything starts to come together. And it get big. I have no clue. I have a nice follower count. At least I haven't checked in a while. I don't think you're notified if you lose followers, but whatever. Okay. If to get big, I have no clue. Legitimately. But what I would recommend is experiment. Once you see something that can get a viewer, and once you get something that, or once you see something that gets you somewhat more attention than normal, in terms of like more people talking and more people yada yada yada, then yeah, once you get more, like, I don't really know in terms of actually giving advice. I mean, so many followers, yet nobody watches my streams. But I'm fine with that. By what I know, it normally takes a long time for you to even get a moderate following. But don't act, just don't lose your audience. And if you really liked something but it's not getting many viewers, then you have to really choose if then you gotta choose really which one you want to prioritize. If it's something that you want to do, or something that sorry about that. It's just something that you have to work on. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. If something that you wanted to focus on isn't as successful, don't be afraid to sorry about that. Uh, for instance, if some of the streams that I did that I really enjoyed doing was playing retro games. Well, mainly playing retro-ish games, like retro feeling games like Pokemon Uranium, and a Game Boy Color game. But nobody watched it, so those were the only times I played it. I doubted that anyone would care, and still feel that way. But that's why I don't really ask for people to follow, because if I'm somebody, if if I'm somebody you'd want to watch again, you'd probably follow. If you're just like, okay, whatever, you can just go. I'm fine either way. Although it's nice for people to join, by that I mean follow, and actually watch my streams. If you have better things to do, that's fine. Anyways, the TLDR, and just quick, is don't be afraid to do your own research before you stream. Just something that I do. I know I keep going on tangents, but whatever. Something that I do is that when I get a mod pack, or when I make a mod pack and I know very little of what a mod can do, I normally make a world off stream so I can experiment. I can see what's good, what's bad, what could be forgotten, and what can be focused on. But an issue with certain mods being powerful is that it's samey. For instance, when I had Project E, my focus on the first session of the world was always get more, or get Philosopher's Stone and Transmutation Table. Day 1. Very useful. But the issue is, that kind of takes over. Why would you need an ME system, for instance, when 90% of everything can be thrown into the table? You're acting like you don't have space for like 3 or 4 obsidian chests. Whoop-de-doo. So, and just listen to criticism. For instance, I'd taken off Project E right when a viewer basically said it was a terrible idea to put Project E in the mod pack. So I'd taken it off. And yeah. But either way, hope you like this, and I'll quickly put this to YouTube. I'll be back Wednesday for playing Sky Factory. Sorry I missed my Scrap Organic stream. I had stuff to do, personal life.